This is the GTN show. Welcome. This week we are talking big bucks. Could we see two athletes walking away with a $1 million prize fund by the end of this year as a result of the Nasser bin Hamad Triple Crown?
Well, who knows, but we will also be covering some athlete news, both injury-wise and new sponsorship arrangements, the re-emergence of a new race series here in the UK, and also some chilly exploits. Well, now in its fifth year, the Nasser bin Hamad Triple Crown is a rather lucrative offering of $1 million paid by the Prince of Bahrain for the athlete that can win all three of Dubai 70.3, World Championship 70.3, and then finishing off with Bahrain 70.3 in one calendar year.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty hard ask. Only one athlete's managed to do it so far. That was Daniela Ryf back in 2015. And then she got close again in 2017, as did Javier Gomez. Both of them had 2 wins going into Bahrain, but they didn't manage to get on the top spot, so missed the opportunity there. But obviously it gets refreshed every year. And we've just seen the Dubai 70.3, where Holly Lawrence and Adam Bowden won their races. So they're the only 2 athletes who've got that opportunity now.
Sure are. So they've actually now got to go, not just to compete, but to win at the World 70.3 Championships this coming September in Nice for the opportunity to make their bank balance rather healthier.
Yeah, and then obviously finish it off with a win in Bahrain. But it does beg the question, we noticed that Daniela Ryf wasn't in Dubai on the weekend, so are athletes starting to actually emphasise winning a title? So we presume she's focusing on 70.3 World Championship title and the Ironman World Championship title. What is more important to athletes? Is it that big prize fund, or is it actually being crowned world champion? Well, we want to know what you think and what you would rather if you were in their shoes. So this week's GTN poll, we are asking you, would you rather win $1 million or become world champion in Kona? Well, to enter that, just click on the link above Fraser's head.
And on that note, we can talk about what our poll results were from last week, where we asked the question, how many cups or mugs of coffee do we drink in a day? So, last position would be 4+ mugs at 16%. The next was 1 mug at 18%. None at 32%, which I actually think is quite a lot for none. And then 2 to 3 mugs at 34%.
Well, I think we come in that top percentage just about. But then there were a few questions of how much is a mug, how big's your mug, how many shots of coffee do you have in your mug, more importantly?
How many do you have?
I don't know, it's the word coffee machine. Well, it's not unusual to hear of events getting cancelled in the Northern Hemisphere this time of year due to weather. And over the weekend here in the UK, we had quite a lot of snow and pretty much everything shut down as a result. But over in Minnesota in North America, temperatures don't seem to stop them, even extreme conditions such as minus 35 degrees. The Arrowhead 135 ultramarathon still went ahead. And this is when athletes had to cover a distance of 135 miles or 216 kilometres across the snow, either running, cycling, cross-country skiing, or using a kick sled.
Yeah, now these extreme conditions, believe it or not, didn't actually affect the racing at all, because the records were actually broken for the second time in 3 years. In the running race, the men's winner took just over 36 hours, and the women's winner was 48.5 hours, give or take. So, I don't know about you, Heather, but I can't really wrap my head around doing anything for that length of time, let alone in those sorts of temperatures.
No, I mean, I managed a 2-hour run in the snow in the UK, and that pretty much exhausted me.
Which is a good effort.
As did you.
Now, it's perhaps not the start to 2019 that the South African pro Richard Murray would have been hoping for. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, he was really excitedly tweeting about the start of the season and the debut race for him, which was Cape Town World Cup home soil race. But it seems like he's got himself injured, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think on a training camp out in Namibia, he said along the lines of basically this foot pain. Didn't really know where it came from, but it's progressively got worse, so much so that he couldn't even walk on his foot. Not quite sure of the timescale, but it does sound as though he's not going to be ready to compete because it is this weekend, so just in a few days' time. And it's going to be a pretty tough race, I'd imagine. We haven't yet seen the confirmed start list, but it is a lot of the pros will be using it as a warm-up for the first World Triathlon Series race in Abu Dhabi in March. It's the start of the season, but we're still seeing new athlete-brand relationships getting announced. And this latest one comes from Cervelo, as they have just signed the Ironman 70.3 and the Ironman World Championship bronze medalist Annie Haug from last year.
Yeah, now Annie comes from a really strong ITU pedigree, and even though she's been doing long course for a couple of seasons now, she's just getting stronger and stronger, obviously, with those results. And she rode the P5X this past weekend to claim a really good silver at Dubai 70.3. Now, you won't have heard us mention much about the Collins Cup on the show for quite some time because, well, things have gone a little bit quiet in the Collins front. It was rescheduled from last year to be arranged at Challenge Roth this coming July, and, well, it's been rescheduled and postponed yet again.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard of it, it's designed to be based around the way the Ryder Cup is. So you've got teams from regions competing against each other, and they've actually decided to choose 3 regions, USA, Europe, and rest of world, to have 12 athletes representing each team. And these teams are decided partly from the Professional Triathletes Organisation, the PTO, who've made a ranking list, and then the athletes are selected from that ranking list.
Now, the PTO have announced that they have appointed North Point Advisors as their financial advisors in the hope of finding a strategic partner that can ensure that the Collins Cup will go ahead, and they'll find a race date and race location for it to happen finally next year. Right, now it's time for our caption competition where we review some of the captions that you've sent in for us that are hopefully quite funny. What have you got there, Heather? Have you got a list?
Well, yes, I mean, first of all, the photo last week was from the World Championships, and it's this lovely shot underwater at the race start. And yeah, we had some good selections to choose from. We've got 2 runners up this week. Our first one comes from Eugene Sear, captioned, "The water is much warmer down here." Now, we read through these beforehand, and Fraser, you can explain this one because I didn't actually get it initially.
She says she didn't get it, but I assume that Eugene's implying that the water is much warmer down there. Everybody might be having a little bit of a pee before they start the swim. I've never done it.
Well, you knew what it was. But anyway, moving on. Our next runner-up comes from the Dom Louis and says, "Which of these triathletes is in above their head?"
I like that one, yeah. I thought
that was very
clever.
close. It was a very close winner, but go on, Fraser.
Yeah, our winner is Gerald, and he said, "Nobody will see it coming because we swim under the radar, so well done."
And if you guys want a chance to win your own GTN swim cap, then you've got to see if you can come up with some witty captions for this picture. It's from the 2018 Miyazaki ITU World Triathlon Cup. And, I mean, it does slightly remind me of, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say this without getting punched, but Fraser's dive.
That was a little bit unfair. I never had to dive very much in Ironman.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And yeah, and we know he's not diving. It just, when I first saw it, it just went through my mind. I should have kept that to myself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, I'm sure you guys can come up with much nicer suggestions. Please be nice to Fraser. But also, yes, let us know what caption suggestions you have in the comments section below.
It reminded me of ballet.
Okay, it's time for us to take a look at some of the photos that you guys have sent in. And to start us off, we have this one in from Marco. And it's actually got 2 bikes, a Trek Domain 5.9 with Ultegra Di2 and a Trek Speed Concept 9.9 with, again, Ultegra Di2 in the attic of his house. And he says, "This is my way of winter preparation for my first full distance Ironman in Zurich this summer. I'm hoping to get a sub 10 hour finish." Well, that's pretty ambitious, Marco. And I'm just wondering though, before we go any further, Fraser, have you chosen this? Because I know you used to ride Trek and there are 2 Trek bikes here.
Yeah, you might be right, Heather. There was maybe a subliminal reason for me picking this picture because I think they're really good looking bikes you've got there, Marco, especially your Speed Concept. But it looks like a really good pain cave you've got there. Excellent treadmill in the corner, weight set up with a mat, Zwift in the corner. I think it looks really good.
Even set up his transition zone.
I know.
It's like there's...
I'm not sure where you're running to though. Well, the treadmill, actually.
Well, you don't need to go outside. Perfect. Well, next up we have this one from Jeff. Oh, hello. I think Fraser has definitely picked these because we have, surprise, surprise, a Trek Madon for draft legal racing. And this is Pickering in North Yorkshire in England, training hard, ready for the Euros in Kazan. That's in
Russia.
Kazan's in Russia, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about, Heather. I just think they're really good paint caves.
Well, talk us through this one then, Fraser.
Yeah, I mean, I think what caught my eye was the wallpaper of all your race numbers, which I actually am quite envious of because it's something I always thought would be a nice idea to do. And I've kept lots of race numbers, but I've never quite got to that stage. So I'm genuinely impressed with that.
You're just going to have to add yours to Mark and I. I think between the 3 of us, we might be able to get close to that.
We could do, but there's I'm really impressed. I think that's really nice. And then,
but the bike you didn't even notice.
Well, maybe a little bit. But I did also notice his little iPad there with the Zwift going, as you know, so many of us are using these days. So just a really nice looking little functional corner for training.
Yeah, well, we have one a little bit different now. We are going into the swimming pool. This one's sent in from Niall in Montegordo in Portugal. Montegordo is a savage place for triathletes. I'm not sure if it's good savage or bad savage. 25 and 50 metre pool for swimming, plenty of hills for biking, and quality trails and track for running. And it's also dirt cheap, apparently.
I mean, I chose this one because I do think it's a little bit of a fun picture that Niall sent in. I'm not sure how long he held his breath to be able to do that, but I've never trained in Montegordo. Apparently it's a really good spot to go, as Niall is alluding to, so hopefully you've had a good... I mean, I'm assuming you don't live there. I'm making the assumption that
I want to know if he's got like a sort of weights in his trunks or something, because how he's managed to get down there without blowing the bubbles to make him stay.
It is an impressive picture, well done.
And then I think our final one is from Anders, and it's a Shiv from 2015. My room's windows are closed and no fan to get warm and good. I'm intrigued by this one. Training for his Ironman 70.3 in Paida, I can never say this one, Paida X?
Paida X. Yeah, Paida X. Yeah.
Indoor, so no fan, and the windows are closed to make it feel like Spain. And I love this hashtag, and I don't know if I've never heard this hashtag before, do like Sanders. Obviously, I know to Lionel Sanders doing all of his indoor training.
And you're a big fan of Lionel's indoor training, aren't you, Heather?
I am, yeah, but I'm not a fan of having no fan. Oh dear. But yeah, hardcore training there without any fan at all, and by choice as well.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah. Well, that is us for another edition of the GTN show. If you have liked the hoodies, jumpers that Heather and I are wearing today, maybe you've seen all the cycling kit that's in our other videos, then please have a look on the shop. You can click on the link that's somewhere on the screen and go and browse and see if you can pick some up. Yeah,
and to make sure you get every single video that we make here at GTN, just hit the globe to subscribe and hit the thumb up like button if you've enjoyed this week's show. And now, I did mention, maybe slightly harshly, Fraser's dive. Well, if you want to actually learn how to dive, and yes, Fraser is in this video helping you on how to dive, so I probably should eat my words, that video is just here.
And if you want to see the video that Heather did on women's triathlon specific tips, then you can get that here.